Good day, everyone. I'm Miss Karen Pearl M. Mercado, Teacher 1 from Rosario Elementary School, and I'm going to present my research titled The Utilization of Game-Based Learning in English Among Grade 5 Students. Good day, everyone. I'm Miss Karen Pearl M. Mercado, Teacher 1 from Rosario Elementary School, DepEd Pasig, and I'm here to present to you my research about the utilization of game-based learning in English among grade 5 students. So for the overview of my study, we have the rationale, the statement of the problem, methodology, the summary of results and findings, and the last one is for the recommendations. Rationale. So in terms of the technological advancement, okay, for rationale, in terms of the technological advancements that have accelerated over the last few decades, the existence of technology is becoming increasingly significant in many disciplines since it will aid human lives in many areas, including education. So the use of or the involvement of educational technology is very evident nowadays in the school. Good day, everyone. I'm Miss Karen Pearl M. Mercado, Teacher 1 from Rosario Elementary School, Pasig, and I'm going to present to you my study entitled The Utilization of Game-Based Learning in English Among Grade 5 Students. So for the overview, we have the rationale of the study, the statement of the problem, methodology, summary of results, findings, and recommendations. Okay, for the rationale, it is no secret that technological advancements have accelerated over the last few decades. By this, the existence of technology is becoming increasingly significant in many disciplines since it will aid human lives in many areas, including education. According to the study cited by Shintala 2019, the modern age has 4 characteristics, including the accessibility of information, the use of machines, and the ability to complete all scheduled work anywhere and anytime. So the use of technology in terms of the information, computing, and communication. Since English classes include several resources, most English learners expect many media in the learning process. One type of media that may be employed is game media, where the game is integrated with learning materials for it to be utilized throughout the teaching learning processes. So with the use of technology especially the game media, it helps the students for them to be proficient in the 4 English abilities, namely listening, reading, writing, and speaking. As a result of the learning process, the learning environment becomes more fascinating and enjoyable through the use of the game-based media. According to Marchis and Tunde 2020, GBL might be an instruction approach that does make a difference. And it is cited to the study of Saputra et al. 2021 that the creation of game-based learning may provide a joyful learning environment and motivate the student and grow their inventiveness. For that reason, the Department of Education constantly implements innovations to improve educational system in the country. Nowadays, many educators have worked on different instructional materials that need efficient and enjoyable learning and teaching engagement. So through the through the use of the innovation in the educational system in the Philippines, several scholars and theories stresses that using technology may help students become more knowledgeable, reduce the amount of direct instruction provided to them, and allow teachers to aid children with special needs. It is cited in the study of Abenes 2020. So for the statement of the problem, so this study used a quasi-experimental design to establish a cause and effect relationship between an independent and dependent variable. So here are the statement of the problem. SOP1, what were the pretest scores of the respondents in English before implementing the game-based learning approach in English class? SOP number 2, what are the post-test scores of the respondents in English after implementing the game-based learning approach in English class? SOP number 3, is there a significant difference in the respondents' pre-test and post-test scores before and after the game-based learning approach in English class? And SOP number 4, what ICT instructional tools can be recommended for teachers to develop based on the findings of the study? So for the locale of the study, this research occurred in Rosario Elementary School in Dr. Sixto Antonio Avenue, Barangay Rosario, Pasig City. Rosario Elementary School is a public elementary school in the city of Pasig, and it belongs to a large school category in this district, in the school district 4 of Pasig City. So the total number of grade 5 students is 543 divided into 13 sections. The researcher only chose one section, President Quezon, as the experimental group. This section contains 42 different student groups, and the researcher used a non-probability purposive convenience sampling to identify the participants that are included in the research. The research utilized a teacher-made pretest. For the instrument of the study, the researcher utilized a teacher-made pretest and post-test to measure the effectiveness of game-based learning approach towards grade 5 students. This pretest and post-test contain a total of 30 items that have a 4 objective type of test, such as the matching type, true or false, identification, and analyzation, and question and answer. This the coverage of the pretest and post-test is all about the concepts in their topic in English about the various text types, particularly the purpose and features. The instrument go through a series of validation before it was implemented to the students. So for the methods of analysis, SOP1, what are the pretest scores of the respondents in English test? So the data that were collected are subjected to frequency distribution, percentage mean, and standard deviation to establish the respondents' pretest scores. SOP number 2, what are the post-test scores of the respondents in the English test after implementing the game-based learning? So the data that were collected are submitted to frequency distribution, percentage mean, and standard deviation to obtain the post-test scores of the respondents. SOP number 3, is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the respondents in the English test? So a pair of t-tests are used to examine the significance of difference between the experimental group's pre-test and post-test scores. So for the presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data, so this chapter contains the information about the results of the study and the analysis and interpretation of data gathered through the use of the adapted statistical measures. So for SOP number 1, so the pretest scores of respondents before implementing the game-based learning approach. So in this table, so the mean is 13.31, which falls under FAIR, and the standard deviation is 2.6. So on average, respondents achieve a FAIR level of English proficiency. And this finding suggests a baseline understanding of English among respondents with room for improvement, particularly in elevating proficiency levels beyond the FAIR range. The pretest scores revealed that despite not learning the topic yet, most of the grade 5 students' scores were proficient. According to the study of Soto et al. 2019, he stated that the students who have high inferential skills would also be those with higher self-reported metacognitive knowledge, specifically knowledge about evaluation. SOP number 2, the post-test scores of the respondents. So you can see from this table that there's a significant improvement. So the mean post-test scores of 20.05 reflects a notable increase from the pre-test mean, indicating an overall improvement in English proficiency across the sample. These findings underscore the effectiveness of the game-based learning approach in enhancing English language skills among respondents. This observation is supported by the study of Altahir et al. 2021, which revealed that using game-based learning had a positive impact on students' motivation, engagement, and achievement. Furthermore, according to the study by Partovi and Rezavi 2019, game-based learning in the classroom would increase student engagement in their learning. And game-based learning played an important part in the acquisition of abstract concepts, and elementary school students' accomplishment motivation was aided by producing excitement, joy, and engagement among students. For the table number 3, difference in the respondents pre-test and post-test before and after the game-based learning approach in English class. Overall, these findings provide strong evidence to support the effectiveness of the game-based learning approach in enhancing English language skills among respondents, highlighting its potential to positively impact learning outcomes and student achievement in English classes. The grade 5 students became familiar with the important concepts that they need to learn from the topic using the game-based learning approach. This supports the conclusion of Karakoch et al. 2020 that game-based learning is beneficial at all levels of education and is not confined to a certain age group, and it is critical to begin using it throughout the teaching processes of children and continue it throughout their later educational experiences. All the data gathered both from the paired t-test results of grade 5 students evidently reject the null hypothesis that there is no significant difference between the pre-test and post-test results of the respondents after the intervention. This means that the implementation of the game-based learning helped the students to become active learners in the learning processes, similar to the study of Simanjutak et al. 2023, the usage of PowerPoint media has an impact on improving the learning outcomes of the grade 5 students. Likewise, the study found that digital games can boost engagement and foster a student-centered atmosphere. It also gives students more opportunities for individual exploration and thought. In addition, this study acknowledges John Piaget's account of cognitive development learning theory, in which the teacher will let the students play interactive digital games while learning, and then she or he will direct the students by giving them instructions, prompts, and questions pointing toward the lesson that match the objectives, according to Zong 2019. Moreover, students treated with PowerPoint games showed higher levels of learning motivation than those handled with conventional media, such as visualization through photos. For SOP number 4, here's the sample of a proposed game-based learning approach program for teachers, wherein the teachers are recommended to develop their own instructional materials using PowerPoint. So for the training objectives at the end of this program, the teacher should be able to identify what game-based learning approach is and how it is done in the classroom, realize the importance of applying the game-based learning approach in improving teaching pedagogies and enhancing students' learning, and experience joining in creating instructional materials and learning toolkits in implementing a game-based learning approach. Who will be the participants? The teachers from Rosario Elementary Schools, and the persons involved are the administrators, teachers, and staff. So for the time frame of the 2-day training program, so from 9 to 12, the teachers will do the hands-on activity in creating their own PowerPoint-based instructional materials and learning toolkit. After the hands-on activity, the master teachers in charge for grade level will critique the output. And subject to their approval is the presentation the following day. So for day 2, the presentation of output to the school head, school ICT coordinator, and master teachers towards the presentation. There will be an evaluation and feedback of the output presented. So more basically, this training program is more on the creating ICT instructional tool and learning toolkit by the teacher. Not merely just a pure seminar, but creating their own ICT instructional tool. So the participants will answer an evaluation after their training program. So the performance rating, excellent. If the given rating is 5, good if the given rating is 4, fair for the given rating is 3, and needs improvement if most of the participants give a rating of 1 and 2 in the training program evaluation form. So for the summary, conclusions, and recommendations, so among the important findings of this research were, before the implementation of the game-based learning approach, the grade 5 students were given a 30-item pretest to measure their prior knowledge of a topic in English about the different text types according to its purpose and features. The results had a mean of 13.31. So despite not learning the topic yet, the scores of the grade 5 students were rated fair. So meaning to say they have somehow their own knowledge on what this lesson is all about. After learning their topic, the grade 5 students were given a 30-item post-test to measure what they had learned. So the result had a mean of 20.05. So there was increase in post-test of the grade 5 students as their scores were now good. And based on the paired t-test, there was a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test results of grade 5 students. Papasok ka ba, Mami? Kasi ako'y nagre-record. And based on the foregoing findings, the following conclusions were drawn. Before the implementation of the game-based learning approach, only one student got the highest score of 21 point and one student got the lowest score of 7. So the range of the highest and lowest score gained by the students. After the implementation, the students were given a 30-item post-test wherein two of them got the highest score of 27 and one got the lowest score of 12. So you can see that after in the pre-test and post-test, those who got highest score also had an increase in the post-test, as well as those who got the lowest score also got somehow an increase despite having the lowest score. So there was a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test results of male and female grade 5 students. And based on the post-test results, game-based learning had a positive impact on students' motivation, engagement, and achievement. Moreover, the implementation of game-based learning captivated students' interest and attention toward the topic and produced excitement, joy, and engagement among students. And game-based learning is an effective tool for enhancing the learning process of the students and letting the teachers integrate technology in the teaching-learning process. A thorough and continuous training shall be given to enable the teachers to be competent and knowledgeable in utilizing interactive discussion and create employing technology or game-based strategies, such as exposing them to develop or create an appropriate learning material that best fit between student and teacher. In the light of the conclusions drawn from the study, The following are hereby recommended. The game-based learning technique is one of the teaching strategies that teachers in both public and private schools can use, especially if they want learners to recall the lesson's content. This will also help learners become more engaged, responsible, and self-sufficient learners. Extra preparation should be made by the teachers before, during, and after the implementation of the game-based learning approach. It is advisable to be aware of the interactive game base that is appropriate to the interests and skills of the learners. Moreover, teachers should be knowledgeable in creating or operating interactive presentations before the implementation of the game-based learning approach. Number 3, teachers should make sure that the game-based approach is appropriate to the age and level of thinking of the learners. A simple and entertaining game that will bring excitement and interest to the learners to play at the same time to learn the topic. So there will a brief explanation of the mechanics and how the game will be played shall be provided for the students to easily understand it. Teachers may also want to consider using the game-based learning method in other subjects in grade 5 or other grade levels. They can choose whether to adopt the game-based strategy over a shorter or longer time. And future researchers may perform experimental studies to determine the successful effects of the game-based learning technique in various grade levels and other subject areas. They may evaluate its effectiveness in various classes or group sizes, as well as examine how the results change by grade level or subject area. That's all. Thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Ms. Karen Pearl M. Mercado, MAED student, major in educational technology, and teacher from Rosario Elementary School. Thank you for listening and God bless.